Interesting. نشكر الأخ طارق من سيسكو ميدل إيست. طبعا احنا أي أسئلة راح تكون في نهاية الجلسة. يعني إذا أحد عنده سؤال حق أي محاضر ممكن يكون في نهاية الجلسة يجمعون الأسئلة هذه كلها. الحين عندنا في الورشة الثانية آفاق الذكاء الاصطناعي من منظور مايكروسوفت. الأخ فارس بو فخر Technology Solution Professional for All and Big Data Microsoft. يتفضل.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Firas, and I'm the Technology Solution Professional. So what does that mean? So I'm a specialist in the field of AI and big data in Microsoft Dubai, but fortunately, and I'm lucky enough to actually be moving to the Kuwait to support Kuwait as a region. Now,
innovation is not just a word, it's an action. With artificial intelligence, we are not crawling or walking or running, we are flying today. Microsoft AI helps an architect bring history back to life. He doesn't see data, he sees fragments of our past. This is now. Artificial intelligence helps farmers grow more food with less resources. She's not collecting information, she's feeding a growing population without wrecking the planet. This is real. An engineer explores how AI can help the deaf see sound. She's not looking at obstacles, she's staring down opportunity. Innovation doesn't see the possibility of tomorrow, it creates tomorrow. And are you ready for the headline? Tomorrow is here today.
Now, I'll give you an example of what we did with AI. So as you can see here, this is one of our coders in Microsoft Corp, and he's actually visually impaired. He was one of the first developers to actually create an application to see the surroundings. As you can see, those who are visually impaired have a lot of mental gaps that they cannot understand what's around them. If they are talking to someone in front of them, how is that person feeling? And with the power of AI, he's able to understand the people in front of him. He's able to see how do people interact with him. Are they listening? Are they not? Who's in front of him? Is he talking to someone? And I'll tell you about one of the experience that I had in Jitex, Dubai. So there is this application called Seeing AI, which is the same application this coder uses. And I've been presenting it for about a year and a half. Now, there's this person from Saudi. He came to me and he's like, you changed my life. And I'm like, I don't know you, so we just met. How did I change your life? And he was telling us how this application that he used, which is known as Seeing AI, that you can all download on your iPhones, changed his life. He's able to see the people around him. He's able to understand who's around him. He's able to understand currencies and so on. And what he's doing right now in the Saudi government, he's trying to push this application to support all of the Saudis who are visually impaired. This is really important because AI is giving you the advantage to include people that you've overlooked and overseen. Now, our CEO, actually before that, now, how do you digitally transform? And what is digital transformation? So digital transformation is some form of changing the way we do things. It's the future. Now, how do you go to the future? You have 4 options, which is engage customers, operations optimization, employees, and transform your product. So now, you're using the power of AI to actually include employees that you've never included before. You've given the voice to those employees who've never been there before. You're changing the way your customers perceive you as a government with the new applications embedded with AI. And here's the new thing. Instead of actually using an application, you're using a chatbot to talk to your customers, to understand your customers better. And you're changing the way your customer perceive you as a government. Now, there are 3 pillars of AI if you think of it this way. You have your services, your infrastructures, and tool. Now, think of Azure as a platform. It's simply this Lego, green Lego that you build your platform on it. You use your different blocks. And these are the services that we provide for AI. So you have your chatbots, in which you communicate with different customers without actually being there or needing to communicate. Cognitive services, in which it mimics the way a human being works. It can see for you. It can compute for you. It can understand for you. It's a different way that we're doing things right now. And then you have your machine learning. So when we did our census, we understood that our customers do not know how to code. So what we created Azure machine learning algorithms for them, but we called them cognitive services. So instead of you programming image recognition from scratch, You can actually plug and play with it. You can train it yourself, and that's using the cognitive services. Now, if you want to code it from scratch, you would use something called Azure Machine Learning Services. Now, for infrastructure, you have two parts. You have your data, and you have your compute. So AI is a really old term. It's not new. But what happened? So we got your data, and then we got the power of cloud to actually analyze the data. Once we understood that data, we got intelligence. And that intelligence is what's helping companies to actually grow, to utilize their competitive advantage, to understand their customer better. So they will, for example, if you're a government, you're doing paying electricity and so on, you can create a bot instead of a customer actually going there to pay his bill, he can pay it on his phone. It's simplifying the means in which we do things. Now, to do such a thing, you need the tools to actually create something. So we have Visual Studio, which we created as Windows, and then we support open source. So we have different forms of open source machine learning algorithms that you can utilize. Now, what is machine learning? Let's dig deeper. It's actually a sub-part of computer science in which you would make the machine learn and understand on its own. Now, but what do you need to actually for machine learning? So you need three things. You need math, you need computer science, and the most important part, you need domain expertise. It's so easy to get a technician, but it's so hard to get a person who actually knows the industry as well. And here, there are different algorithms that actually Microsoft provides you. So you have your classification, you have your regression, you have all of the recommendation engines that you can see on souk.com. You have clustering. So now all of the citizens of Kuwait, you can actually cluster them based on what they prefer, what they like, what they need. And based on that, you will target them. You will understand every citizen, what they like, what they care. And that's a great advantage for a government. Now, I spoke about cognitive services. Again, these are pre-configured algorithms in which we created that you can utilize. So there's the vision, there is speech, language, knowledge, and search, if you think of it. So as I'm speaking, in real time, it can translate for you. If you can't, I'm in front of you presenting, in real time, it's giving you annotations. It's describing who am I as a person, what am I doing? And that's the beauty of cognitive services. You don't actually need to code it. You don't need to be a coder. We wanted to democratize AI. We wanted to simplify AI. And for that, we created these algorithms for you to utilize. Now, chatbots. Chatbot is one of the biggest trends in the Middle East right now. Every government is asking for chatbots. And the reason for that, chatbots are applications. They're simple applications. But the beauty about these applications, you don't actually need to create it for a different iOS. You would create, usually how you would create an application, you would create one for Windows, one for iPhone, one for Android. Now, instead of doing such a thing, with a chatbot, you will create a central application and you would link it through different channels. And that gives you a great advantage because you don't need to develop the same thing 3 times. Now, for chatbots, what our main goal was for it to use the human language as the new user interface. We don't want customers to actually press on an application. We want him to talk to it. We don't want customers to actually go through an application and type. We want it to interact with it. We want it to understand you very well. And these are the great advantages of a chatbot. Now, a chatbot can be hard-coded, which is hard-coded, actually. But what you do, you put on top of it a layer of intelligence, and that's the cognitive services. Now, to end my session, which is early, perfectly, so here's the thing. When we talk about AI, our mission in Microsoft is to empower every organization and every human being in the world. But when I joined the company, I asked myself this question. How would you empower every organization? Would you empower people in Africa the same way you would empower people in Kuwait? The answer is no. But how can you empower them? And the answer to my question was actually AI. I'll tell you an example of what we're doing currently in Africa. We're working with the government and collaborating with telco companies to actually recommend what seeds to actually plant in the plantation fields of Africa. And for those people who are actually getting these seeds, they get a discount from the customer, from the government for that. Now, how is that helping them? It's helping the customer to actually plant something that will give them a lot of yield that they can send and gain more capital. But if you think of it, how will AI actually help the government of Kuwait? Now, think of how society is. Society, we build it on pillars. We build silos. You have your rich, your poor. You have the people who are with disabilities or people without disabilities. Now, what AI can do, it can bridge those gaps between some of those silos that we've created. For those people who are without disability, you get the insights of a person with a disability. You get the experience, the knowledge that someone with disability can actually explain to you that you overlooked. Now, governments are being more interactive. They're being more welcoming to actually get more people who are Kuwaiti citizens or Kuwaitis like who lives in Kuwait to actually interact with the government, to get their insight. And this is one full thing that we did in Microsoft. It's working with people with disabilities to actually gain their voice, to gain their insights, to actually do more and support them in their journey.
We have so many pupils who are non-verbal, but still have so much to say.
I want the exact same information that my hearing friends have.
There are barriers to communication everywhere, but I think it's time we look at the barriers as opportunities to reach out to everyone.
Soundscape fills in a lot of the mental map as you move.
Approaching intersection.
You can just put it in your pocket and go.
With ALS, you become locked in. But we see technology as a way to give back what ALS has taken away.
There's no better feeling than to hear a child say something that they've wanted to say and the look on their face after they've been able to say it.
When it's reading, I see spaces between the words, and it's easy to focus on.
Anjay realized that here was something that could change his life.
Now that I have my phone, I can see exactly what was said, and that's been a huge help to me.
The system is learning as it goes, and the accuracy has improved tremendously.
Students can pick any language that they choose to receive the information. It's like we jumped into the future.
Because communication is very important for all of us, and we just want to be together and not feel left out.
Aider les personnes avec autisme à communiquer, il y a des images.
Je parle, je donne une information à Arthur et elle est traduite par l'application El Picto instantanément en pictogramme et après d'une façon orale.
Va t'habiller et te brosser les dents.
On va pouvoir remettre en place une communication qui est plus spontanée. Je crois que ça aide à recréer du lien.
Both my wife and I are totally blind, and we have a 3-year-old son that's in preschool. He can see, but his parents can't. So to be able to know what's going on at his school is everything. The Seeing AI app has the ability to allow me access to the visual world. Artificial intelligence is beginning to have an impact on the lives of people with disabilities, but it's only going to grow. There is still so much out there to be done.
Now, it's one of the most emotional and one of the most proud videos that we have in Microsoft that I always showcase. It shows you the capabilities of AI and the capabilities of using the power of the cloud to do more. Now, I want you to question, what do you think with that person who's actually visually impaired, instead of using that application, imagine him holding that server rack on his back to actually do AI. And that's the beauty of cloud. So instead of this guy holding a bag of 7 tons on his back just to see what's in front of him, he's actually utilizing the power of cloud to do more. The cloud is a new term in the Gulf Force, and people are, in a way, scared of it. But I want you to think further than this. It's not, do we want cloud? It's when. Tomorrow will be here today, and cloud is really important for us to actually grow as a company and as a country by itself. So by utilizing the power of cloud, you're being inclusive. By utilizing the power of cloud, you're being more powerful to actually do more. You're doing machine learning algorithms instead of wasting 15 hours and investing hundreds of dollars. You're doing it in 15 minutes. So the potential is there, and you can do it. We're Microsoft, we don't actually sell you products. We actually build with you solutions. So with that, I would like to thank you all for listening, and I hope it was an insightful session. Thank you.
Okay.